So we can see a tree here that was planted 2 years ago, and although the group responsible for planting the tree have topped up the mulch a little bit, as you can see there is actually quite a lot of bare earth now around the base of the tree. Now we can't emphasize how important it is to keep the tree topped up with good, bulky, organic mulch for the first 3 to 4 years of its life. Mulching serves various purposes. It helps to retain moisture in times of drought. It helps to regulate temperature. If you think about where this tree would be originally, the ancestors of this tree in the fruit forests of Kyrgyzstan, they would be surrounded by other plants which wouldn't allow direct sunlight to the bare earth underneath, so it helps with that temperature regulation. But importantly, it helps to begin to build the soil around the base of each of our trees from the top down. So as the organisms come to the surface, pull down the mulch, break it down, we're initiating the health of the soil food web, and really a healthy tree depends upon healthy soil. Now, using a mulch made from woodsy materials, specifically younger wood, the branches of other trees, we can begin to create soil that mimics that of the soil on the floor of the forest. So by adding more woodsy material, we're actually feeding the beneficial fungi, and it's these fungi that will also help in turn to feed our trees. So generally, the healthier the tree, the less susceptible it's going to be to infestations of pests and also disease. So by creating holistic tree health, we're going to be working towards a healthier tree that stems from healthier soil that hopefully will be more resilient to such attacks. We have an apple tree here which is showing signs of obvious aphid infestation over the summer. Telltale signs here where these leaves, as you can see, are crumpled, they're deformed, and many of them have died back now and are falling off prematurely. So what will have happened is, when we have this new growth from the spring into the summertime, the aphids prefer the young growth because it's weaker for their proboscis to get into the leaves, and they're able to suck out the sap, and they always attack the young leaves, and you can see them covering many of the leaves on young trees. But here the tree has gone on to develop new growth, and this hasn't been attacked by the aphids. So possibly in this situation, natural predators were attracted by the aphids, they've come in, they've eaten them, kept the population down, and then that's allowed the tree to put on a second burst of growth later on in the summer. So this shows the importance of attracting these beneficial insects, these predators that will come in and do the pest control for us, so that we don't have to resort to using chemicals. So you can attract these beneficial predators such as hoverflies and lacewings by planting plants such as dill, fennel, daisies, poached eggplants or dandelions. They generally like small white and yellow flowers. You could plant these around your trees, and that would help to increase the numbers of these predators. You may find ants around the aphids. Now, ants themselves aren't a pest, but annoyingly they encourage aphids, and they actually farm aphids for the sweet honeydew that they extract from the aphids. So it can be an idea to try and prevent ants from climbing up your tree by putting a grease band around the base of the tree, quite low to the ground, and that can prevent the ants from protecting the aphids, which then leaves the aphids open to predation by predators. So one of the easiest things to do with aphids is actually just manually removing them. So if you're not too squeamish, you could squish them off with your fingers. Some people prefer to put gloves on while they're doing that. But that's a good way, very simple way of taking them off, keeping an eye on them and just squishing them. Scab is a widespread fungal disease of apples and pears, and it's one of the most common diseases we find in fruit trees in London. It prefers cool, wet periods in spring and early summer, as it's a fungal pathogen, similar to the summer we've had in 2012. Generally, it's not too much of a problem. It might cause the apples not to look very pleasant, but it won't affect their taste. And as we're not doing this commercially, then it doesn't matter so much. It's more of a problem for commercial growers. It overwinters in the fallen leaves and twigs. So one way to deal with it if you have a bad outbreak is to remove any affected leaves and twigs and infected fruit. Or if you want those to go back into the mulch, which is of course the natural feeding routine of the tree, then you can help it to break down more quickly by adding something like urine or by mowing the leaves first so that they break down more quickly. So it's important during the winter to look for any diseased material in the tree and prune this out. And indeed, good pruning should allow airflow into the canopy structure of the tree, which will help to eliminate the microclimate favoured by pathogens such as scab. We can see here powdery mildew, so these shoots that look almost ghostly white, the tips have died back there, and that's a fungal pathogen. And again, it's one of these with organic gardening, we're also looking at observing and trying to nip things in the bud and actually destroying them, getting rid of them before they get out of hand. So in this case, in the summer, if you see any leaves that are looking white, like they're covered in a white kind of powdery film, then just take those off, and it's best to remove them from the site if possible. Powdery mildew can be caused by the tree not getting sufficient water, especially in the first couple of years after planting when the roots are still establishing, which is why it's important to make sure that you water your tree during times of drought, during times of dryness in the spring and summertime. It is possible to grow good quality fruit organically through a holistic approach that works alongside nature to increase the diversity and resilience of the orchard ecosystem.
The London Orchard Project is a fresh initiative to plant and harvest fruit trees in our capital. We're developing a skilled community of Londoners to plant, care for and harvest fruit trees. By doing this, we're reconnecting urban communities to their fruit and to each other, and helping to secure our long-term access to fruit.
In partnership with these groups, we're identifying sites, coming up with designs for the orchards, training people from the groups to plant and look after the orchard in the long term, helping them plant, and then providing long-term follow-up support to make sure that the trees produce abundant crops in the future.
Right guys, I want you to think when you're tasting these apples, these apple trees are going to be what grows here in our food growing garden at Humid. So it's really important that you pick the apples that you really want to taste later down the line. They're going to take a while to grow, but when they do, these are the different apples that could come out. With trees being so long growing, I think it's important to have a really sustainable and long-lasting project that can support that all the way through. So having the London Orchard projects train the trainer sessions and providing training for local people, teachers and parents means that the project's got far more chance of success than it would do if it was just myself trying to pass on the knowledge. So it's really important for us to have that detailed support that you guys can offer us.
And what do you think you'll do with the fruit in a few years when you start getting crops from the trees?
I think we'll do an enormous number of things. We will draw the fruit, we'll measure the fruit for science, we'll test the fruit in science, we'll eat the fruit raw, we'll eat the fruit cooked, we'll try and work out recipes, we'll make fruit smoothies, we will give the fruit out, we will use the fruit to give to the children at break times and lunch times, like we already have some but not quite enough for everybody to have it for free. Everything it's possible to do with fruit, we'll do with fruit, I should think.
So what do you think of this project then?
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The more fruit trees, the better.
Yeah. Why do you think it's important for residents to be planting orchards?
Well, I think it brings the community together, to sort of actually work on the areas that they're going to live in. Growing is a fantastic way of doing that, bringing the community together.
It pushes the healthy eating agenda. So the Orchard Project fits in with all of those things, and it looks nice, it offers something to the community around here, and we're right in the middle of some flats, and if we have nice apple trees and pear trees and plum trees growing that eventually we hope the community will have access to as well, it's a win-win.
So how are you feeling about
this
the
is
fact?
great.
Yeah? Why is it great?
Well, been trying to work towards this for a year, and finally the tree's going in. So,
wonderful.
Yeah,
And why
really
do you need the help of the London Orchard Project?
Well, expertise, funding, extra enthusiasm, and facilitating it really. Great partnership really, I think.
We've chosen locations in some of the most deprived areas in London, where creating a supply of local fresh fruit could really make a difference to the state of the nation's health.
We just want people to help themselves really. That would be the best thing, if people just come down from the flats and help themselves to an apple and eat it.